morning and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of biology. Children, we are discussing the chapter reproduction in plants. Okay? And in previous class, I have discussed all the topics of the chapter. Now, in today's class, I am going to start the book exercise. Alright, so come to the first book exercise, which is choose the most appropriate answer. And the question number 1 is, in plants, sexual reproduction occurs in which of the following? And the options are given: A, leaf; option B, flower; option C, fruit; and option D is stem. Alright children, so out of these four options, sexual reproduction occurs in which part of the plant? Leaf, flower, fruit and stem. So children, you know very well that the sexual reproduction takes place only in flowers, not in leaf, fruit and stem. Alright. In leaf and stem, the reproduction that occurs in some of the plant, that is asexual. It's not the sexual. Alright. So the correct answer will be flower. Now come to the question number 2. And the question is, which of the following methods of reproduction is sexual? And the options: A is vegetative reproduction. Option B, spore formation. Option C, budding. And option D is none of these. Alright children? So out of these four methods, yes, the reproduction is sexual. So children, you know very well, in vegetative reproduction, it occurs from vegetative parts and only one plant involved. So it is not the sexual method, it is asexual method. Just like that, in spore formation, it's also a asexual method of reproduction. Budding, also asexual. Alright, so all these three methods are the asexual method of reproduction, not the sexual. So the correct option will be none of these. Alright, now come to the question number 3. And the question is, yeast reproduces by? And the option, the first one is budding. Second option is sexual reproduction. Alright. Third option is vegetative reproduction. And the fourth option is sexual reproduction. Okay, so the yeast, as you know that it is an unicellular organism and it reproduces by asexual method, and that method is budding. The small buds forms on the surface of the yeast, and when the buds gets mature, they detach from the body. Alright, so the correct answer will be budding. Okay, now come to the question number 4. And the question is, zygote is related to, zygote is related to which method of reproduction? And the options given, first one budding, second option is sexual reproduction, and option C, spore formation, and the option D is vegetative reproduction. Children, so the zygote is related to which method of reproduction? Children, remember that the formation of zygote takes place when the male gamete fuses with female gamete. Understood? And this fusion takes place only in sexual reproduction. Because in budding, spore formation and vegetative reproduction, they are the asexual methods of reproduction. And in these methods, gametes not form and the fusion also not takes place. So the correct answer will be sexual reproduction. Alright. Now come to the next. Question number 5. And the question is, which of these is the male reproductive organ in plants? Understood, children? You have to find out the male reproductive organ in plants, and the option A, pistil, option B, pollen grain, option C is stamen, and the option D, ovule. Alright, children? Understood the question number 5? Once again, I am going to repeat. Which of these is the male reproductive organ in plants? Pistil, pollen grain, stamen, and ovule. So, out of these four, that pistil is the, yes, female reproductive system of the plants, whereas ovule is one of the female reproductive organ in plants, and the stamen, they are the male reproductive system of the plants, whereas the pollen grain is the male reproductive organ in the plant. Alright, so the correct answer will be pollen grain. Now come to the next question number 6. And the question is, which of the following contains the egg cells in plants? Okay, children, which of the following contains the egg cell in the plants? Means the egg cells are present in which of the following part of the plant? And option A, anther, B, stigma, C, pollen grain, and the D is ovule. Alright, so out of these four options, which contains egg cell? So children, as you know that the egg cell is the, yes, female reproductive organ and it is present in ovule because anther is the, yes, they are the male reproductive system. Stigma is the female reproductive organ but it does not contain the egg cell. And the pollen grain that you know very well, it is the male reproductive organ. So the egg cells are present in ovule. Alright? Now come to the next question number 7. And the question is, which of these develops into the seed? And the option A, pollen grain, B, ovary, C, ovule, and the D is pollen tube. Alright, children? So, which of these develops into the seeds? So, children, the seed formation occurs. The seed forms from the ovules. Alright, remember that as we have discussed in the chapter, pollen grains is the male reproductive organ and it does not form the seed. It only fuses with the egg cell. Alright, ovary forms the fruit. It does not form the seed. Whereas the pollen tube formed when the pollen grain settles on the stigma of the flower. So it forms the pollen tube and it does not form the seed. So the seed develops from the ovule. Alright? Now come to the question number 8. And the question is, a plant was found to have seeds with hooks. So by which method is it most likely to be dispersed? Understood, children? The question, a plant was found to have seeds, okay, with hooks. So that seed have the hooks. So by which method it is most likely to be dispersed? And the option A, wind. Option B is water. Option C is animals. And the option D is explosion of fruits. Alright, so out of these four different methods of dispersal, the seeds with hooks will disperse mostly by animals because the hooks will stuck on the, yes, body, the hairs which have on the body skin of the animals, so that hooks get stuck on them and get dispersed from one place to another place. Alright, the correct answer will be animals. Okay, now come to the next, that question number 9. And the question is, which of the following is dispersed by water? And the option A, lotus, B, dandelion, C, pea, and the D is xanthium. Okay, so these are the four different kind of plants, and here you have to find out the dispersion takes place by water. So children, as you know that the lotus is a aquatic plant, okay, and its seeds dispersed by water. Whereas the dandelion is a plant whose seeds have the, Yes, the small fur-like structures. So they dispersed by wind. P, here the seed dispersed by explosion. And the Xanthium, they have the hooks. And that is why their seeds dispersed by animals. Alright, so the correct answer, the dispersal takes place by water in lotus. Okay, now come to the next question number 10. And the question is, which of the following is an incomplete flower? Okay, children, we have discussed that complete flower and incomplete flower. Got it? So the options, first rose, second apple, third option is sweet pea, and option D is papaya. Alright. So children, the incomplete flowers are the flowers who have either male reproductive system or female reproductive system. Okay, that is why they are termed as incomplete flowers. And those flowers who have both the systems, male and female, those are termed as complete flowers. So out of these four options, rose, apple and sweet pea, they are the complete flower because in these flowers both the systems are present, male as well as female. Whereas the papaya is incomplete flower because it have either the male reproductive system in the flower or the female. Okay, so the correct answer will be papaya. Got it? So children, these all are the book exercise A that choose the most appropriate answer. Okay, and I hope that you understood these all answers with reason. Get it? Now come to the next exercise of the book, that is very short answer questions. Very short answer questions. Children, here you have to give the answer just in one word. Alright. So come to the question number 1. And the question number 1 is the method of reproduction that involves only one parent is called. So children, remember that the method in which only one parent involved is the asexual reproduction method. Okay, and the method in which two parents involved, that is male and female, so such method is known as sexual reproduction method. Alright, so the answer of question number 1 is asexual reproduction. Now, the question number 2 is mosses and ferns, they reproduce by, yes, formation. What formation? So the mosses and ferns, children, these are the simple plants, and in these plants seed not forms. Get it? So the formation of spores takes place, and with the help of these spores these plants reproduces. Get it? So you will write here the answer, mosses and ferns reproduce by spore formation. Now the question number 3, and the question is Spirogyra reproduces by. Then the Spirogyra is a kind of alga, okay, which is aquatic. And this aquatic alga, aquatic plant reproduces by the method of asexual, and that name of the asexual method is fragmentation. Okay, so Spirogyra reproduces by fragmentation. It did. In this method, what happens? Yes, the body of this plant gets breaks into small fragments, and each and every fragment, yes, give rise the new organism. Alright. Now come to the next question number 4. And the question is, a potato reproduces from seeds. True or false? Children, the potato reproduces from seeds. The formation of seed takes place in the potato plant. No. The potato reproduces by asexual method. Alright. And remember that the activity in which I have shown you the birds or the eyes which are present on the potato, and those eyes give rise the new plants. Okay. So seed formation not takes place here, and this statement is false. Now come to the next question number 5. And the question is, the process of growing new plants using artificial methods is called. Children, once again I am going to repeat the question. The process of growing new plants using artificial method. Is it? So this artificial method is called the artificial propagation. Artificial propagation. Alright. Now come to the next question number 6. Okay. And the question is, what is the process of fusion of male cell and egg cell called? In the fusion of male cell and egg cell is called. So the name of the process is fertilization. Alright? The name of the process is fertilization. Now come to the next question number 7. And the question is, the fusion product of male cell and egg cell is known as. Understood? When the fertilization takes place or the fusion takes place of male cell and egg cell, so what form? What is the product? So the name of that product is zygote. Alright, the name of the product is zygote. Now, come to the next question number 8. And the question is, complete flowers have both male and female organs. It is true or false? So children, remember that we have discussed complete flowers and incomplete flowers. Is it? Complete flowers are those which have both male and female reproductive organs. Whereas the incomplete flowers are those which have either male reproductive organ or female reproductive organ. Okay, so this statement is true that complete flowers have both male and female organs. Now, the next question number 9. And the question is, name one seed that is dispersed by, yes, wind and explosion of fruit. So children, here you have to write the name of one seed which dispersed by wind and name of one seed which dispersed by explosion of fruit. Alright. So the seed which dispersed by wind is, yes, cotton. You can say that cotton, dandelion, maple. These all are the examples. So you can write any one. Okay, and the example of explosion. Okay, explosion of fruit. The example of explosion of fruit is, yes, pea, balsam. Okay, so you can write any one. So these are the two examples of the seeds which disperse by wind and which disperse by explosion of fruit. Alright, now come to the next. So, in the 10th question of very short answer question is, a seed cannot start germinating in the absence of water. True or false? Children, you have to tell that the statement is true or false, and the statement, once again I am going to repeat, that a seed cannot germinate in the absence of water. So children, you know very well some factors which are necessary for germination of seed, and water is one of that important factor which is necessary. Is it? So the statement will be, yes, true, that in the absence of water, the seed will not germinate. Alright, so the statement is true. Okay? The question number one is, why is reproduction important? Okay, children? So you can say that the reproduction is important because of it, the life continues from generation to generation, and thus it is important. Okay, because of this process, the organisms are able to produce their offspring. Okay, and as a result, yes, it can be continue generation to generation, and the species can be maintained. All right. Now come to the next question number 2, and the question is, name one reproductive and one vegetative part of a plant. Okay, children. So remember that we have discussed in the chapter the plants have vegetative parts and reproductive parts. The vegetative parts of the plants are stem, roots, leaf. Okay, and the reproductive part of the plant is flower. Okay, so here you have to give one, yes, name of the parts, one reproductive part and one vegetative part. So you can say that the one reproductive part of a plant is flower, and one vegetative part of a plant is leaf or stem. Okay, now come to the next question number 3, and the question is, how does yeast reproduce? So children, you know very well that yeast is a unicellular organism, and it reproduces by the asexual method, and the name of this method is budding. Okay, so yeast reproduces by budding method. Alright, now come to the next question number 4, and the question is, which plants reproduce by spore formation? Then here you have to write down the name of the plants in which the reproduction takes place by spore formation. Okay, so the plants of lower orders like mosses, ferns, molds, they reproduces by spore formation. Okay, the name of the plants are mosses, ferns, and the molds. These are the lower order plants who reproduces by spore formation. Understood, children? Now, come to the next, that question number 5. And the question is, how is sexual reproduction different from asexual reproduction? So children, here in this question, you have to make two columns to write the differences between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. So the differences are the asexual reproduction requires only one parent, whereas in sexual reproduction, two parents, one male and one female are required. Alright, so this is one of the difference between asexual and sexual. And the second difference is the offspring is genetically identical to the plant in asexual reproduction. Whereas in sexual reproduction, the offspring has a mix of inherited genes. Alright, that some comes from the male and some comes from the female. So that is why in sexual reproduction, the offspring has a mix of inherited genes. Alright. So these are some of the short questions. Now some are left. So we will discuss the rest of the short answer questions in next class. Okay. Thank you and have a nice day, children.